Hey guys, it's Michelle, and I'm here today to update you guys a bit about my life and what's going on. If you guys forgot or didn't watch my other two update videos right before I started this whole trip and 1 month into my time in China, as a brief recap,
I basically arrived in China with almost no plans, and a month into my time in Shanghai living with my grandparents, I had been learning about China and Shanghai especially through just independently exploring the city, meeting new friends, going to places with a lot of history and culture, and just learning from real life pretty much. From the last update video, you also know that I had recently found a Chinese school and was going to start taking lessons.
Okay, now with that out of the way, let's get to what's going on right now. I've been taking Chinese lessons at that school that I mentioned about once every other day and brushing up on my comprehension and speaking skills mainly. I'm really very happy with the school and I think it's been going pretty well. I've noticed a significant improvement in the level of my Chinese speaking, and I can actually have conversations about deeper subjects like culture, issues in a society, economy, etc. After about a month and a half of learning about China independently through exploring different places and observing, it's been really nice to have a formal way to solidify and further enhance what I have learned. I'm taking one-on-one lessons with 2 different teachers, and the school that I go to is this fairly small but really good comprehensive company called Go East. Classes have been taking up most of my time because I need to prepare for the class before I go. Then once I'm at class, it's kind of like a discussion between me and the teacher corrects me with things that I say wrong and helps me with ideas that I struggle to express. After each class, I make a point of reviewing everything I learned so that it sticks. As you can tell, because of this pre-class and post-class prep, learning Chinese actually takes up a pretty big chunk of my time. Another big thing I've been up to is preparing for my 3-month backpacking trip around China, which is the main reason why I'm making this video. The reason why I'm backpacking for 3 months is because I already bought my plane ticket to return to Boston from Shanghai in late July. Now, that being said, if you already started doing some quick math in your head, you'll realize that I'm supposed to leave for this 3-month trip right now. When you see this video, I'll actually be long gone already, as I have pre-filmed it once again. Today is April 18th, and I'm leaving in 4 days on the 22nd. Speaking of pre-filming videos, 3 months is a long time to have pre-filmed one for every week, so that's another thing I wanted to mention for you guys. I will only be making videos once a month from now on. This is the video for May. The next time you hear from me will be the first Wednesday of June. That video I actually already made. It's about cultural differences between China and the US, and a lot of these big conclusions I've been coming to and realizing since I've gotten here. After that, the next video will be the first Wednesday of July, and I will be filming it from wherever I am then, giving you guys an update on how backpacking has been going. As for why I'm leaving now and not staying in Shanghai for a little bit longer, I really am already satisfied with what I've learned from my stay in this city. I've become much closer with my grandparents. I know Shanghai like the back of my hand, both in terms of how to get around and the general history and culture of the place. By now I've been in the city for 2 months, and I can't really explain specifically, but you just know and feel it when your time's up in a place. The best way I can articulate it is that I feel like everything I've learned so far has been preparing me to take this next step out into the rest of China. To elaborate a little more on what I mean by preparing for this trip, I've basically been poring over a map of China every day, planning out one route, then planning out another route, adding places, subtracting places that I want to go to, and piecing them together in ways that make sense, and also asking anybody who knows anything about anywhere on their suggestions about where I should go. For a visual representation, in case that was a bit too abstract, I have this notebook, and these are all those routes I was talking about. I drew this map of China to try to make it more visual. I have all these notes, and this is the final thing I came up with, which I'm going to be sharing with you guys in a minute. Hold tight. Here comes the fun part of the video, breaking down my plan for y'all. There are only 2 things that I'm sure of for this 3-month backpacking trip. The first is that I need to get to Hong Kong by June 17th because that's when my multiple entry visa expires, and I'm not trying to stay in China illegally. The second is that my main mode of transportation will be taking Lupi trains. Lupi trains are essentially the lowest, slowest class of trains there are in this country. The China that I've experienced so far in coming back to visit as a kid and also living in Shanghai with my grandparents right now is a pretty filtered, privileged, and developed part of China. China is a many faceted country, and what I'm trying to say is that the side that I know is pretty tame. I have had my fair share of squat toilets, but going on these trains are some next level shit. Now onto my specific plan that will probably not go the way I'm expecting it to. So, Obviously, I'm starting from Shanghai, and I'm gonna start off by going north to Beijing. Beijing, as you hopefully know, is the capital of China. It was also the capital of China during the Qing dynasty and has the Great Wall close by. This means that there's going to be a lot of imperial history and traditional Chinese culture, and once again, it's the country's capital, so I'm going to be staying there for a week. Oh, I forgot to pull up this fun map that I drew. As you can see, we're here. I'm going up there. And from Beijing, I'm going to be going west to Xi'an. Xi'an is the old capital of China. What I mean by this is Xi'an was the capital of China for many dynasties before Beijing was even a thing. It was the OG, and notably it was the capital for the Qin dynasty 2,000 years ago. That was the first dynasty, by the way, that you had a united China that somewhat resembles China as it is today. Once again, 2,000 years ago, so old shit, my friends. And it was also the capital for the Tang dynasty, which is considered China's golden age. It was also the beginning of the Silk Road. It's an important effing city, so I'm gonna be also staying there for a week. Speaking of the Silk Road, from there I'm going to follow my Marco Polo dreams and go west through the desert to the Gansu province. In the Gansu province, there's camels and sand dunes, and most famously in Dunhuang, there are the Buddha cave paintings. These are super old from hundreds of years ago and really impressive, so I'm excited to go see those. Oh, I forgot to show you guys the map again. I keep forgetting that I have this handy thing that I drew. So that's the Gansu province right there, going from Lanzhou, which is its capital, to Dunhuang, which is famous for the Buddha paintings. And from there, I'm going to be going to the northwestern region of China called Xinjiang. Xinjiang is geographically the largest province in China, and it is majority Muslim. There's a lot of very distinct ethnic minorities there, namely Uyghur, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, etc., making it a very unique region of the country. Once you get to that part of China, you start realizing why I personally don't really believe that borders are a thing. Yes, they make sense for political, economic reasons, but if you look at how the people and culture actually are along countries' borders, you realize that they're a bit more like a spectrum. China's northwestern province of Xinjiang is a really good example of this, because once you get to there, you almost start feeling like you're in a different country. And for good reason, because the Kazakh ethnic minority, they are the same ethnicity as people in Kazakhstan, and the Kyrgyz ethnic minority are the same ethnicity as people in Kyrgyzstan. And respectively, they speak Kazakh and Kyrgyz. Both those languages, by the way, have a lot of linguistic similarities to Turkish and Arabic. And once again, the whole region is majority Muslim. So I actually heard it feels more Middle Eastern than it does stereotypically Chinese. It's also a pretty unstable region of China though, and I've heard from quite a few people that it's a bit dangerous. If not dangerous, inconvenient, because all the cities are very spread out due to the tricky geography, making transportation very complicated, and also the many security checkpoints that they have. The people in Xinjiang and the Chinese government right now are in a bit of a conflict. So when I'm backpacking in Beijing, Xi'an, and Gansu, basically before I get to that area, I'm going to be asking other travelers who hopefully will be coming from that area, or people working in the hostels, because I feel like they will know best if it's safe to travel there. This is definitely an example of what I mean by I make plans, but I adjust plans along the way. Assuming I do go though, I would like to stay for about 3 weeks, because like I said, it's a very big and diverse and fascinating region that I would like to spend more time in. This would bring me to late May. Around that time, I'm planning on taking a train from Xinjiang's capital, Urumqi, which you have to pass to leave the region, all the way to the southeast coast of China in Fujian. From the map, as you can tell, it is a very far road. This is where I'm going. So I'm going to be crossing the entire country by a 2-day train. Hopefully by that time I will have already gotten used to the train situation in China, and 49 hours of it won't be that big of a deal. In the Fujian province, which I showed you guys, there's a lot of nice beaches, and there's also tulou, which are these massive, really cool traditional houses that the local people in that region have, and you have hundreds of families living in them, and they look like these big stone cylinders from above. I've seen pictures, it looks dope. Hopefully I have time to go. From Fujian, I'm going to be going to Hong Kong. There is Fujian, so Xiamen, which is a city there, and here's Hong Kong. So I'm going to be taking a train along the coast to renew my visa, so I'm not staying in the country illegally. From the Hong Kong area, I'm going to be going to the southeastern area of China. So this part right here. So first I'm going to be going to the Guangxi province, and then Guizhou, Yunnan, Sichuan area. This part of my plan is still like too far in the future for me to want to do specifics, but essentially that region is one of the most interesting, beautiful, popular regions with foreign tourists in China. The large majority of China's ethnic minorities are there, and the cultures and landscapes in Guangxi and Guizhou are actually very similar to what you'd imagine for Southeast Asia. So rice paddies, lots of lush green mountains. The Yunnan province has similar landscapes and is also very culturally diverse, but it also has some snowy mountains because it's bordering Tibet. Sichuan province, which is north of Yunnan, is also bordering Tibet, and the areas of both those provinces that near Tibet are already culturally Tibetan, so hopefully I can experience a bit of Tibet without going because I am not technically allowed to enter that part of China due to the fact that I have a US passport. By the way, I forgot to mention, many parts of Guangxi, Guizhou, Yunnan, and also Xinjiang, the northwestern province that I mentioned, are semi-autonomous regions because of their cultural distinctness from the rest of China. I'm telling y'all, China is a very diverse country, which is why I am so keen on getting out and exploring the rest of it. The place that I will likely be ending my backpacking trip around China in is the Sichuan province. Anybody who's ever gone to Sichuan is extremely fond of it because they have amazing food, giant pandas, really friendly people, and beautiful landscapes. Sorry, did I mention food? From Sichuan's capital, Chengdu, which I also heard is very beautiful, I will be flying back to Shanghai. Or maybe I'll take a train, who knows. Either way, my flight back to Boston in late July is from Shanghai, and I'm hoping to get back a few days before my flight leaves, just so you know, I don't miss the flight, and also because I can have a bit of time to relax and recuperate before I go home. Woo! Okay, I'm super excited to see the rest of China. I actually know for a fact that I'm not going to see all those places I just told you guys about. I would be very surprised if I did, because last time I went backpacking for 3 months in South America, I was planning on going to Colombia, Peru, and Bolivia, and I missed a whole country. So who knows what will happen this time. Everything is subject to change, but seeing everything there is to see is not the point of my trip. Backpacking in all those places I told you about is going to be super amazing, but in the end for me, it's really just a backdrop about learning more about this world and humanity and about myself. The only thing I know for sure is that this is going to be another crazy adventure. So stay tuned for that update in July. Thank you guys so much for watching and supporting. I will not see you guys next week, but instead next month. Catch you on the flip side. Peace!